Hi everybody, this is Roxy, and we're starting a new series at Your Paper Pantry called Recipes from the Pantry. And you don't have to be a member of the pantry to enjoy this. We're just going to take all of the recipes that we've collected and make the recipes and see how the different favorites that everybody has sent in fare. So it's going to be myself, Roxy, for Natasha, who is Anastasia on YouTube, and then Yolanda, who is Yoli Bean. We're going to take turns making recipes. Hopefully we're going to do it once a week. We're going to try our best. But all you need to look for is recipes from the pantry in YouTube, and then we're each going to do a different recipe every week. So I'm going to start Patti Lane. And Patti is Shabby Pink Stamper. And she offered, or sent in, this is for the eggs and breakfast swap that we did. And she sent in quiche. And here is her card and holder. And then also Lori Snyder sent in Crustless spinach quiche. They're very similar. Lori's is without a pie crust. And uses Muenster cheese and does not use flour in her egg portion of it, where Patti does. So I'm going to use Patti's recipe, and I am going to have to doctor it up a little bit. My husband needs a low sodium diet, and I need a lactose or a low lactose diet. I'm lactose intolerant, and I can handle 1% milk, but nothing more than that, and certain cheeses. So Patti's recipe calls for cream, and I'll be using 1% milk, and it's perfectly fine to switch things out like that. I also have my mother-in-law here today, and she doesn't care for spinach, so Patti's recipe and Lori's both call for spinach. I'm going to use some roasted asparagus I had left over from dinner the other night. So I'm going to first get this pie shell, or pastry, into the pie shell, and I just use the Pillsbury frozen pie crust, and I'm just going to have to move this over a little bit to get this in here. It's super easy. I used to make my own pie crust all the time, and it's not impossible to make, but it's just so much easier to use these. And my camera is giving me a little awkward position here. Just pat that in your pie shell. And this is an 8-inch pie shell that I'm using, and it's an old-fashioned one that has the little crimp edges. Something like this hole, you just want to kind of press so that that's not, your egg won't pour into that during baking. Okay, and then just pull off the excess crust. There. Alright, so then that's our pie shell. Let's set that aside, and we need 8 eggs. Place cheese. Okay, first I gotta, oops, I'm gonna do it by the recipe. Okay, so we need a cup of, she has a cup of, where is it? Okay, 8 ounces of Monterey Jack. I like to kind of use what I have left over. So I just had 2 bags that were open of the cheddar jack. So I'm just gonna use that. Another little change up for us is my husband doesn't care for eggs and onions, so she calls for half a cup of minced onion. I'm just going to use the pre-tinned minced onions, and just do a half a tablespoon, so it just gets a little bit of the flavor, not a whole lot. Okay, so that's the pie shell. Now with our eggs, we need 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. I think that's powder. That was a close call. And this is to give it kind of a thicker consistency in the egg bake. And then 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder. And what else? A cup of diced ham. So I've got that already diced. And then 1/2 cup of frozen spinach drained, but I'm going to use the asparagus. And then I also added a few mushrooms just for our taste. And that's what's nice about quiche is you can put just about anything you want in the quiche, whatever your favorites are. She also calls for a pinch of cayenne pepper, but we're kind of bland eaters in this neck of the woods, so I know it sounds like I'm not even making a recipe, but but it is. Quiche is quiche. So and then you just want to get this kind of mixed up, and then it's 12 ounces of cream. I'm going to put in skim milk, but I'm not going to put as much as 12 ounces in because cream's a lot thicker. And you just want to make sure all the yolks are yeah, Patti doesn't have flour in hers. Somebody else, maybe it was Lori that had flour in it. Okay. Alright, so there's that. And then you just pour this into your pie shell. Hopefully without pouring it all over the counter. And this looks really, like I usually just put in a little bit of cheese in mine, so this is going to be really yummy. Okay, get all that, so come on. There. And then you can kind of see how some of it's kind of, especially because of that ham, so I'm just going to move things around a bit. And this is ready to go to the oven, so I will show you when it comes out. Okay, so the quiche came out and it's nice and golden brown. And Patti's recipe called for baking soda and baking powder. I've never used that in my quiche, so I'm excited to taste how that changes it up a little bit. And I threw caution to the wind, and I threw the pinch of cayenne pepper into the mix, so we will see how it tastes.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to taste test the beautiful quiche. And I will tell you, get a little bit of each piece. You can hear the dog panting in the background, that's not me. Oops. There. One more little bite. Good. Oh, that is wonderful. Very good recipe, Patti, and thank you for sharing.